Hi everybody, today I want to tell you a little bit about the micropipetting practice lab. And what you see on the screen in front of you is a pre-lab that I was writing with a bamboo tablet. And what I tried to do was to take some of the essential points of the practice lab and kind of summarize them for myself and do some little drawings to try to help me remember what we're going to do. So first of all, we need to remember that there are 3 different sizes of micropipettes. There's a small, a medium, and a large. And it's really important to know what micropipette size we're going to use. The one we're going to use for this lab is actually the smallest one, and it's at 0.5 to 10 microliters. So the first step is that you're going to practice with the 2 pipette settings, and that has to do with the top of the micropipette where the plunger is. You can push it down halfway and then all the way. When you push it down halfway, then you take up the liquid and you push it down all the way and then you release it. The second thing you need to do is you're going to take your micropipette and you're going to set it on the side to 7.5. So that means you're going to rotate it until the numbers change and you get 7.5. You need to be really, really careful that you don't over-rotate these pipettes and take them beyond the limit that they are set to. So this one, for example, can't go any lower than 0.5 microliters or higher than 10. So then what we're going to do is we're going to take up 7.5 microliters of a dye solution. And the way you do that is you put the appropriate size tip on the end of the micropipette and you place it into the solution. And you press the top stopper down halfway. You put the tip below the surface and you suck up the solution into the pipette tip. Being very sure that you don't accidentally pull air into the pipette. You're going to practice taking the solution from the stock, as I just showed you, into the tip, and then you're going to put this 7.5 microliters into an empty Eppendorf tube, which looks like this. Each one of these Eppendorf tubes has a lid that flips on and off, and each one of them can hold 1.5 milliliters. Okay? After you practice doing that a few times, you are going to work at filling out the tables which are present in the lab. So for example, the table that you can see here in front of you, you're going to take 2 Eppendorf tubes, the clear ones, and label one of them A, one of them B. And into A, you're going to put 4 microliters of blue, 3 microliters of red, and 2 microliters of green, and no yellow. Into tube B, you're going to put 3 microliters of blue, 2 of red, and no green, but 0.5 microliters of the yellow. So I'm calling these recipes. You're going to do that for a number of tables in the lab. Once you're done with that and you have completed the recipes and filled in all of the tubes with the required mixtures of the different colors, you should go about and calculate what final volume you think should be in each tube. So for example, in tube A, we entered 4 microliters, 3 microliters, and 2 microliters. So theoretically, there should be approximately, or hopefully exactly, 9 microliters of liquid mixed up in that tube. Then what you can do is you can actually measure the actual amount that you have in there to check to see how close you were, how accurate you were with your pipetting. Now how can you measure the actual amount? Well, all you have to do is you take your pipette, you make sure that it's still set for the total amount. So the total amount we calculated was 9. So you rotate it up until it says 9. You put the tip on the end, and then you put that tip into the tube. You push down the stopper halfway, and you pull up to see whether or not the solution fills the tube. So I have here my pipette set to 9, and I have a small tip on it. If I push the plunger down halfway and put it into the solution, keeping the tip below the level of the liquid, I pull it up, you should be able to see that the bottom of the tip is completely filled with red dye. Now, if there's an air bubble in there, and you can see that, that means that your measurements were a little bit off. When you're done practicing measuring the small volumes, you can also practice mixing. One way to mix an Eppendorf tube is to snap the lid shut firmly, making sure it's completely snapped. You can hold it between your 2 fingers and gently tap it with one of your fingers. The other way that you can mix is using a microcentrifuge, and we will practice that later in a different video. Here's a few rules. Do not jam the micropipettes. Every single one of these micropipettes is calibrated to measure within a particular range of volumes. So never try to set the pipette to 1,008 microliters if its maximum is 1,000. Or don't set it to 8 microliters if its minimum is 10 microliters, because that is bad and you will jam the mechanism as you try to over-rotate it. Also, never use the same dirty tip to pick up a new solution, because as you could probably imagine, you will cross-contaminate those solutions. And finally, never use the pipette with no tip on it. You need to always make sure that your pipette has the correct size tip on the bottom. Okay, that's about it. So get started with your lab and good luck.